Hello, hello. Welcome one, welcome all to the first Riptide Swarm Tournament. Tonight we have $200 on the line going to first and second place. 8 teams showed up tonight to fight for that $200 and more than the $200 for the bragging rights, for the experience of playing some organized swarm, and to show off to all of you lovely people in the chat. I am the Nurk, and I am joined today by a very close friend of mine and my co-caster, Psych Eric.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How are you doing tonight? It is
I'm doing
a
good.
excitement. We're at 32 people, all locked in and loaded. We're gonna see some good games tonight. Gonna be best of 3 for the first set of games, followed by the semifinals, which will be best of 3, and then a best of 5 format for the finals with the $200 prize pool. Just as you said, Nurk, it is going to be a
Absolutely.
great night of Swarm.
So to quickly go over that again and just add a little more context to it, the prize pool is going to go to both grand finalists. The winner of the grand finals will be taking home $40 per player. The runner-up, that is the loser of the grand finals, will be taking home $10 per player. Those are both a nice chunk of change, but in order to get anything, you got to make it there. So our first round right here is going to be 2 teams, Cleaner Crew versus a team named IDK.YET. I'll change this Nate later, and apparently that was a lie. They did not change it. This is going to be round 1.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about a couple of things. Let's talk about predictions. Let's talk about this bracket in general, Sai. What do you think of it?
For this game in particular, I am very excited. We're going to be seeing some powerhouses, especially on side of Cleaner Crew. We're going to be seeing some SD Stinger, I'm expecting, without a doubt. And then on the side of IDK.YET, we know we have some personalities actually on that side, coming from some streamers themselves. So it's going to be very exciting to see how these teams mesh and who's going to actually come out on top. What's your thoughts on that?
So I think, personally, my prediction for this round right here that we're about to watch, this set of matches, I think we're going to see Cleaner Crew take it home pretty handily, actually. That's my official prediction. Anyone who spends time in our pickup games or just in general around the community is going to recognize SD, as well as maybe some other members on his team. And they know that SD in particular plays a lot of Stinger, and he's got a whole team that will completely build around him and play around him and pocket the crap out of him and just let him do all the damage. You're going to be expecting that most of the teams we see tonight, the tall boys are going to be fragging out and getting all the kills on the Ridden side. But that will not be the case for Cleaner Crew. I promise you what you're going to see from Cleaner Crew is they're going to spend pretty much the whole first round on the first Ridden side farming up points. And then at some point at the end of round 1 or somewhere in round 2, we're going to see a complete change in play style. They might even swap to double Stinger, and they're just going to hard dive someone in the backline every time with a massive amount of Stinger upgrades, making it so unbelievably difficult to actually dislodge him. IDK.YET, on the other hand, we have not seen as much of. We have only one player on IDK.YET that's actually come to our regular pickup games or our preseason games. So we know a little bit about him, and that's going to be What a Bummer on the other team. We know he's capable of playing a great support role. He can play a medic. He's got some good decks for that. We also know he knows how to play sniper pretty well. I actually scrimmed with him just the other night. Man hits shots. But to be honest with you, I feel like the lack of time spent in organized swarm is going to make a huge difference here, especially because to counter these things that we know Cleaner Crew is going to do and build around SD's Stinger, you're going to have to use teamwork, right? I mean, you have to peel for each other. You have to be watching each other's back. When a Stinger is on you and they're jumping all over the place, sometimes it doesn't even matter how good your aim is. If you only hit the one shot, it might not be enough with all those buffs stacked up, right? So you need teammates to be aware that that's happening and then turn to actually help you.
And we know how tempting it can be, especially when you start getting those good Stingers jumping around, being a nuisance. How tempting it can be to throw those nades, use those resources, and that's exactly what they're in it for. If they can drain the resources early, where you don't even have the opportunity to nade that Stinger, well, it's time to ship it because you're going in the coffin. I don't think that without a proper team play, it's going to be very difficult for them to pull it out here. But I am here to see myself be made a clown. because
Hey,
let's see it.
yeah, I mean, listen, just because we have a favorite to win, right? And that's going to be Cleaner Crew. Doesn't mean that we aren't going to see an upset here. Doesn't mean that IDK.YET isn't a phenomenal team. There's still fantastic players on that team, right? Maybe just slightly less experienced. And at the end of the day, that's what makes esports so amazing, is the opportunity to get these crazy reverse sweep plays and hat tricks and stuff like that. So maybe we're going to see that tonight. All right, as we get into our first game here, we're going to actually start to go live with some gameplay for you lot in the chat. And we're going to get our first look at the team comps we're going to be working with. Cleaner Crew running a Mom, Doc, Carly, Holly. Very standard comp. And for those of you who don't know, you usually see Mom, Doc, Carly are pretty much must picks. Pretty much must picks. And then the fourth slot usually is a bit more flexible. It's a bit of a flex pick depending on your team's play style. The Holly is a favorite for a lot of teams because you have dedicated Horde Clear to deal with all the commons, and it adds quite a bit of tankiness to your. What do you think we'll see about Ridden here, Sai?
This map is very, very strong, especially if they start an Exploder, if the team's going to be holding the high ground, which is a very popular strat. But I'm expecting the Stingers. It's a very strong point farm strategy. And we see the first fight developing as the tall boy starts to jump up. And there's the Exploder, as I say, trying to knock him off. But it doesn't seem like it's enough. And that's going to be the first fight won, really.
Not a lot to worry about. Just the little bit of damage that's coming through. First fight's usually a non-starter for the Ridden anyways. Just trying to feel out your opponent. Make a little space. See what they're willing to use for free versus what you're going to have to work for. And that's what we're going to see here.
So as the tall boy re-engages here, trying to knock off and successfully knocking Jumbo off the high ground, getting a lot of pressure, forcing the first nade of the game as the Stinger plays from the range, hopefully trying to get those points up, getting those mutation points, getting those upgrades as soon as they can to really get this strategy up and running.
Absolutely here. So we have still a pretty tight hold up top, except
early not coming on the Gray here. They get knocked down early by a tall boy, it seems, and an early mom res possibly coming in. Tall boy and Exploder knocking him off the high ground. Their tall boy and Ridden side are really playing aggressive here, but they aren't able to secure any knocks or real downs here. They're going to have to recontest it very early if they wanted anything here.
Right, your eyes did not deceive you. That is Momres out before a minute 30. That's not a comfortable place for them to be, actually. And the next tall boys are already spawning.
And very quickly gets taken out with that utility. Stinger as well. This Exploder coming off the high ground and isn't enough to secure anything with the last tall boy. It should be a wipe with the focus fire here.
It should be. It's not so much about the downs that we're worried about as all the meds that they're going to burn through on this fight, and the fact they may be losing high ground now. As the fight develops on the low ground, you're going to see that next Exploder spawn going to come from up top, would be my bet. Here it is.
And the tall boy hard aggressing, getting our POV right here. Mom very low. We know how high priority it can be for that for him to take them out real quickly. Just how much sustain, how much pressure that can leave with the team. And the Stinger setting up on the side angles again, just being a nuisance here.
As we near a minute and a half here, we are approaching a time that can be considered good. But lots of progress still being made towards actually destroying the economy of the Cleaners as they use a lot of util and a lot of meds.
We did see there that double Exploder actually making their way out, trying to get that pressure. We should see another fight engaging early here. And getting knocked real early by, I think it was an Exploder or a tall boy. And we see another Exploder locking him off, getting that AoE damage to push him out. And the second knock coming out onto the dock. This fight is going to progress, and it is not looking good for the Cleaner side. Tall boy is pushing onto this Mom, trying to stop them from having any real chance of getting res or sustain here. But we do see that Holly still alive, getting the res onto the Carly here. But the final...
Like, maybe this is going to be the end finally here for the roughly 3:30 run on Cleaner Crew, which is not a bad time at all. No util going into second round. Had to absolutely scrape their way to the 3:30 mark, but it's absolutely a winnable time. We are seeing some really, really interesting Ridden strats coming out from IDK here. Did you notice that? How many exploders there
Yeah.
were?
I think I counted 7, but I am all for it. I have said since the preseason games, I have said in person that I love exploder strategies. They are chef's kiss when it comes to this game.
I usually am not so, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm usually not so all in on the exploder strats. I tend to be of the opinion that exploders are a little bit more niche, a little more situational. They're really good for displacing. They're really good for stopping cleaner teams from stabilizing after a close fight. But usually without a lot of upgrades, especially in round one, you don't see them doing a lot of damage. That wasn't really the case there. And I think that was because they really committed to having the 2 exploders back to back. So they basically went in and did double the normal amount of exploder damage every time, right? And they used that exploder displacement as well to completely prevent the cleaner team from ever playing up top, which would normally be, at least on this map, a really, really powerful position to hold, because if you have your sniper uncontested there, stingers are just going to have a hell of a time.
Do you think that could be possibly why they're running it? You know, shut down those snipers, let the stingers farm, using your own life to kind of get that advantage. Think that's possibly a strategy we could have seen from our second team here.
I'm
IBK
sure at
Ham?
least I'm sure at least some of the thought process was that they were going exploder to displace them off of the high ground. I'm not sure that they were thinking about it specifically in the context of shutting down snipers. And the reason for that is if you want to shut down snipers, there are usually better options. You can go Hawker, you can go just a well-spawned tall boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure that was at least part of the thought process, is displacing them to control the high ground. Because once you have the high ground, exploders can drop off there, and on this map, they can go pretty much wherever they want. If you're not on height as cleaners, you're down to get exploded.
Mm-hmm. So
Anyways,
it
after we've
seems
switched
like
sides here,
mhm.
we've switched sides here, so we should talk real fast about Cleaner Crew's Ridden strat. We mentioned it before, and you're going to see it come to fruition here. They're going to be running double Stinger, double Tall Boy. Again, this is not something we're probably going to see most other teams run in this tournament.
Alrighty, first team starting as they jump up. Stingers on the off angle as the tall boys are able to knock them off the high ground. That is very early, forcing the flashbang, and the Stinger just farming at the angle. Both tall boys prepping for this engage as they climb up, and they are staggering each other, not letting themselves get knocked off at the exact same time. As the util gets boy the second, knocking him off the high ground, maybe getting a knock here. Oh,
Right.
you can't miss those shots. The knock does come in onto the Carly, though. Second, tall boy is knocked, but that might be soon enough where they can rotate back in and make this fight a little bit longer than they want.
Now, I couldn't quite tell. We may have gotten another mom res out very, very early in this round because of the fact that the down was on the low ground. And we're in a similar position we were to the last round, where now the cleaners are down here on the low ground, going to get free fired. Everything can spawn up on height and get wherever they want to be.
Alrighty. Tall boy's re-engaging here. We're going to see in 8 seconds. Oh, the car taking him out. Oh, just showing we have our good friend Infintissimo being scared, and that's the exact reason you break those that early.
Gosh, this is honestly quite a bit closer than I thought it would be. Carly caught a little bit out of position, far away from everyone else, without any defibs in play. I don't even know if they're going to get him back up.
Yeah, and the tall boy's re-engaging. Another one coming off high ground. Our good friend Clock hitting the B-hop, but they missed a shot. Both tall boys converging here, singling out each individual target rather than trying to get on one themselves. But I think this should be a cleanup here from the side of the cleaners. Keeping them in the ring, just showing how brutal that lock-on can be, knocking them into the ring. Woo-hoo. Good performance here.
Will go to Cleaner Crew, a very strong Ridden side performance. We know at all time, we've always known that Cleaner Crew is very, very good at playing Ridden. That's their strength. Cleaners, take it or leave it. But when they're on Ridden, they get consistently sub 3 minute, even sub 2 minute times. It's terrifying. And going into the next round here, they're going to be even stronger. We haven't even seen SD swap to an up close Stinger playstyle yet, which, like I said before, we're going to see that happen.
Very, very strong performance. Something I caught, especially on the Ridden side, just from Cleaner Crew. when the tall boys were climbing up, taking that high ground advantage, they would stagger themselves so that the util would get used on one, get that flashbang on the first one, and then while that tall boy is stunned, while he is vulnerable, the second tall boy comes up and forces them to have to spend their attention there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we mentioned it a little bit in the preseason games where we saw SD do something similar, where when you have this double stinger, double tall boy strat, what almost happens is you end up switching the dynamic halfway through the game, where once the build is fully online for the stingers and they become these self-sufficient damage machines that can even frontline, what you actually end up with is the tall boys playing a support role, going in just to pull attention, and the real threat is the stingers, right? And I've said it a bunch of times already, I know, but I can't stress it enough. Cleaner Crew is the only team that does this the way that we're talking about it, at least as far as I know. Maybe another team will whip it out and copy their strat later in the tournament. But I think this is just absolutely terrifying. It's really cool. And I'm not sure IDK.YET is going to know what to do about it when they encounter it for the first time in round 2 here.
See that? Very early engage from the tall boys here. Nades coming out, and they are splitting, and an exploder coming in, trying to get up close and personal, and that is a early knock on the highest value target, taking that mom res out of the area. Their Carly extremely low, getting to 1/4 health, getting some stabilization, and the Doc does get in, getting the res.
My God, that was terrifying. They just full sent the mom and it worked. They were a little bit split. Maybe they got a tiny bit greedy with that extra card that was off on the side. Luckily, it does look like they managed to get a full stabilization, short a little bit of meds, but they still have their mom res, they still have nades, and now they're back to being able to control the spawns.
And we're seeing this tall boy re-engage here. One tall boy getting taken out, second one being taken out as well with the exploder. They seem very adamant on keeping this in this strategy today.
I mean, hey, it's novel, and some teams won't know what to do about it. When you just keep throwing exploder after exploder from them, really what it comes down to get value out of an exploder is you just have to show up somewhere no one's looking, and then by the time they realize it's too late, and if you get a 3-man or a 4-man, even just a 2-man, that can be enough displacement to make room for the tall boys to get kills.
Exploder being taken out very early, but a 2-man exploder leaving them very weak. This may be a knock onto the Doc. Doc coming down very early, triggering that inspiring sacrifice, so a little more sustain on our cleaner side. Tall boy being cleaned up. Are they able to get a clean sustain here?
They are going to have to use the mom res because Jumbo is out in the ring. Very difficult for anyone else to get on top of him.
A re-knock with the exploder. A second exploder coming in and knocked it right back into the zone. That is a full kill without any defibrillators. That is going to be permanent. Tall boys re-engaging, trying to keep them into the swarm. Both tall boys pushing in very aggressively, keeping their aggression, but they aren't getting a lot of damage through. Nades coming in, wiping those two, and that is going to be a sustain without their Doc for this time.
All right. Wow. I mean, a permanent death sub 2 minutes is not good. They still have the tools to get to 3 minutes, but it doesn't look like they have access to a whole lot of util. Who knows what the Doc died with? That's scary.
And the tall boys re-engaging, pushing them into the swarm, and that is a Doc on the mom. That is a knock on the Carly. We are going to be watching just the sustain, just the value you're going to get off of that Holly, keeping themselves in the corner and trying to hit around this corner. This is going to be very interesting. How much time are they going to be able to get just off of those melee cards, off of those, just off the sustain Holly presents in the team?
We see Holly just trying to buy as much extra time for free as possible at the very end by sitting inside this little crypt here. So the only way to deal with this really is you get one of the exploders or you get a wretch in there. Once the tall boy's all the way in, he can actually take a ton of damage. They need to coordinate something to dislodge him here. Can't be fooled by the fact that it's just one player.
Pulling out the crusher,
player.
But the stun guns are powerful tonight. Countering that strategy, they still have one more, and they may be able to get the res onto Gray.
No way.
This could buy them a good 30 seconds here. The crusher actually grabbing Gray without breaking off. This could just be a free knock. Wretches coming in, trying to get pressure, but the melee cards may prove a little bit too strong. Second stun gun coming out. And it is a race against time.
I gotta point out, that was almost an entire minute on the back of SD just playing the crypt really, really well. And poor IDK.YET, I guess they just didn't know how to deal with that. You need to go maybe a Hawker. That way you can spit in from the side. You can also go Wretch a little bit sooner. I think they did at the very end. Make sure you get Goop all the way, all around the bottom of the crypt there. I mean, I get it. It's just one person, and the tall boys are used to being able to go in and 1v1 people. But when you're in an actual man, I mean, there's money on the line for these matches, man. He's not stupid. SD is in there for a reason, right? He knows what's going to happen when you send a tall boy in after him. He's going to win that 1v1 because he has an axe. The tall boy doesn't. So, on the back of that extra minute, despite some fantastic momentum from IDK.YET at the very beginning of the round, that's still a 3-minute, 30-second time. That's a pretty good time bank. That's going to be tough to beat.
Alrighty. It is going to be very exciting here, actually. I'm wondering if we're going to see this strategy from our good friend SD and Cleaner Crew, where we see these tall boys play that supportive role like you were talking about, see the Stingers full engage. We're going to see Gray also locking the Stinger here, not pulling in the Wretch. You know, a very popular pick, especially rushing that anti-hail very early. You know, get that value, stop them from being able to get their sustain. What's your thought about that? Do you think we're going to see the full engage here with the SD Stinger?
I think probably not first fight. They know they have 3 minutes and 31 seconds to go. Again, like I said, that's a pretty long time bank. And I don't actually think the first round was long enough for them to get the build all the way up. You're looking at usually about 3.5 minutes total of farming for the Stinger to get all the way to the end of their build. You know, sometimes you can do it faster. Sometimes it'll take longer if you got a sniper that's keeping your Stingers from farming. So I think what we'll see is 1 to 2 fights they're going to take normally. Stingers playing far, and then at about the 1 minute mark my words, you're going to see SD just full send, all in, get on top of someone and go for a down, and I bet he doesn't die.
Okay. All right, tall boy engaging. And just like you said, we're seeing that Stinger play from distance. Jumbo's going in on the tall boy, trying to get some value as we're on the reset. That is an incredibly early timer. And right off the bat, you're seeing SD jump in, play that aggressive, get up in their face, avoiding that nade. This is going to be very exciting to see. Playing incredibly aggressive off that first knock, jumping back and forth. We can see how much of a menace you can be here. The mom res coming out, keeping them up, getting some more sustain here. Are they able to secure the second knock here? Nade actually knocking themselves on the ground with that nade there. Very risky play.
All right, but you know what? You're seeing it, all right? What you just saw there was exactly the start of what I was talking about. While the Cleaners do have a full stabilization, you can rest assured SD is going to do that again off cooldown. And if they aren't ready for it, or if they don't have nades left, I see no way they can make it to the 3-minute, 30 seconds left, 30-second mark.
Ooh. The focus fire coming in from the Cleaner side, pushing and pressuring off SD, stopping them from actually getting up in the face. Both tall boys hard engaging, knocking one. That is a full death for the side of the Cleaners here.
Now, in round 2, we may have defibs, but it doesn't mean anything if they can't kill the tall boys. Got some nades out, make a little space for them, but it's not without a down.
And both tall boys coming down, or one tall boy, there's still one left, and that is a very fast res coming in from the side of mom. That was not their mom res, that was just from cards there. And that is a full kill, and they're going to focus mom down with one left. This is going to be a stall here, and I don't know if they have enough time or enough survivability to do it.
No, absolutely not. I see no way back from that after that first fight with a down, got a nade out. Just far too much damage in the very first fight. Still a fantastically played round from both teams. We saw exactly what we said we were going to, but you know what? IDK.YET still surprised me. I really, really liked the novelty of their Exploder strat, and you know what? It worked way better than I would have thought that it would on paper. Like way better.
That is... I love Exploders. You know, I could say I'm a little biased. I'm incredibly biased. I love Exploder strategies. They are so engaging. But we have to give it. We saw the aggression. We saw how powerful that SD Stinger could be. We saw actually from the side of IDK, they were contesting the Stinger. we were seeing them actually peel for each other, which could be coming into the second round, the third round here, possibly, how the peel can actually shut them down. And if Cleaner Crew doesn't contest and play those tall boys a lot more support-like, we might see that SD Stinger might actually get shut down coming into the second game here. What's your thoughts on that?
That's kind of my hope, right? Because at the very end, you'll notice that in one of those last fights, SD went in to do his thing, and he actually got shot at by 2 other people. Now, he was fast to get out, right? But does that mean that they know what to look for now? Have they actually talked about it in their comms on IDK yet? And have they realized, wait, this is what they're doing. We can win every fight if we just punish SD. Right?
And look, I'm not gonna throw any shade here, but I am. I think that if they're able to take out SD Stinger, just between you and me, being guy to guy to stream, I think if they're able to take out SD Stinger, hard focus, play that team play, we're gonna see a lot of value here. They're not running any exploders. They're not running any wretches. They're not going to punish them for being grouped up. If they're able to take out SD Stinger, I think they have a very, very strong chance at coming into the third round here and possibly even taking it.
I agree entirely. So what we are likely to see, I think, is a little bit of that. We're going to see them hopefully look more at the Stingers. One moment here. Anyways, hopefully we'll see them look a little bit more at the Stingers. If they can not even just kill them every time, right? But if they can put off how long it takes for the Cleaner Crew to build to that Stinger, those Stinger upgrades, right? That would immediately be a huge boon of value, right? Because if they're forced to still be farming 2 minutes into round 2, well, then that's a lot of nades you don't have to use. And that's a lot of attention that you don't have to spend. And that's a lot of screaming for help that you don't have to do when you have 2 Stingers and a tall boy on you, right? All right, we're going to be back in just a moment. We have some technical difficulties we have to deal with. We will see you guys again for the next game. See you soon.
Alrighty, see ya. And we're back. Sorry about that, guys. We had a little bit of difficulty with the bracket, but it should be all sorted now. And we should be hopping real quickly back into the game. That'll be round 2. So currently the score is 1-0. Cleaner Crew favored. And yeah, so we're just going to be on a little bit of a run just until the game starts. And Nurk, what's your thoughts so far? We had a little bit of time while that was going to let your thoughts sit. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are that IDK.YET is probably discussing in depth at the moment exactly what it is they need to do to pull it back. If they're already boomed, it might already be over for them. But you know what? I give them more credit than that. I give them the credit to believe that they're talking to each other right now, and they're talking and they're saying, okay, so we know what the problem is. We know how we're going to deal with it. We're going to get a 4-minute survival time next game, or we're going to get them out in, sub 2 minutes. All right. We have a plan. We're going to execute it. Everything's going to go according to it. Right. And we're going to start the reverse sweep right here. Because if they lose this next game, they're out. They're done. This is single elim. They don't go to the next round. There is no losers bracket. Right. If they lose this next game, they're out. The prize pool can't be theirs. So it's pull it together now or don't do it at all.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And while we have a moment here, actually, we did get some of the scores for the other games going on right now. Back to 4 actually got the first win versus Bill McDiggity. Along with that, EB did not get the win. Unit 5 was the one to take it for the second game going on. And Question Mark took the first win versus the Bearded Men of Space Station 11.
Okay, hold on. Quick poll in the chat, all right? Between Bill's McDiggity and the Bearded Men of Space Station 11, who has the better team name?
I am all for the Bearded Men of Space Station 11. That is my vote right there.
Our broadcaster's in my ear telling me that their vote is for Bill's McDiggity. I just wanted to share that with the stream. We are not unbiased here, okay? We have favorites. Luckily, we're just the broadcast team. We don't decide anything other than what to say about them. And we're going to shift into the actual game 2 here. Still with Cleaner Crew. We're going to be seeing how they play this. Probably going to be the exact same comp. And we're going to be on... What's this map called again? It's I don't have all the names for the maps memorized yet. I'm sure I'll do it eventually.
It's the beach episode, because if you don't play this correctly, you're going for a swim. That's what I'm hoping to see here. Maybe some Stalker, try pulling some people in the water. Saw some during the preseason games. I'm hoping we see some now.
That was probably our best preseason game. I'll be honest with you. It was this map it was this map, and a Stalker immediately got a pull into the ocean for an insta kill. No defib, no res, no chance to come back from that. And they got like a sub 2-minute time. And then in the very next round, the other team made an equally incredible play and insta downed someone to also get a sub 2-minute time. And that one went to round 3, and it was fantastic. We'll have to see if IDK.YET can emulate that on their first ridden side here. Maybe they go Stalker. Maybe they go 2 Stalker and go all the way to a game 3 here in our first streamed round of the Riptide Swarm Tournament. We'll see Clock here on Mom, just controlling spawns, watching for anybody. A Stinger up top.
Very interesting. We're seeing another Exploder actually coming in very early, getting picked off with that Stinger on the high ground. I'm wondering where we're going to see these tall boys actually catching a little bit of view on them as they engage onto some of the cleaners. Not getting a lot of value here for the first fight, but that's what we expect for first fight, really.
Yeah, the tall boy didn't do a lot of damage, but you know what? Clock still took a lot because that Stinger up top was free farming that whole fight, and the Mom is down already.
That is an incredible down this early in. Are we going to see the res be able to get through? No denials, but the Exploder does engage quick, getting taken out by the AA-12 on our good friend ST here. Seeming to prefer it, actually.
Wow, still a healthy early down there for the economy on the ridden side. Give them some extra bonuses. I'm surprised they haven't gone Stalker.
Tallboy's engaging very early here. Cleaner side trying to use that pipe bomb as an impromptu explosive. If you didn't catch it earlier, our good friend ST actually opened up 4 firecrackers in one of their boxes. So not looking too good on resources here.
That is also an extra defib there. Gray looking pretty rough, but the fight is won nonetheless. So now they're just going to be looking to stabilize, use their meds, maybe kill this Stinger, catch him out. They do that
Ooh.
for Actual on Team IDK.
Ready, Tallboy's re-engaging. The Exploder coming off the high ground, disrupting them as the Tallboy re-engages. Just showing how powerful shutting down that top line of sight really can be. My heart is still set on that quad exploder strat jumping off the high ground, but we might not see it, sadly.
Yeah, you know, if IDK.YET were to suddenly switch strategies to maybe hot swapping quad exploders.
Ooh, another knock on this bomb really early, showing how hard that prioritization of the Ridden can be. Tallboy re-engaging, getting hit by that molly. It's not enough to really shut him down. But the Stinger on the high ground, getting a permanent knock, showing how powerful these defibs can be as they get resurrected, coming back from the dead. Exploder coming back in and getting knocked on the ground again. Let's see, are we going to be able to get a second resurrect from the defibs here?
Now, we can't see the same thing we did last time. They can't let them push from here into a 3-minute, 30-second run. 1 minute just to 4v3. That has to be doable from IDK.YET. I don't even think there's any nades left on the side of Cleaner Crew.
Ooh. Ready? Showing how powerful this Holly can be, getting that horde clear here as they go in for the defib, heading clock up again from the hands of death. Tallboy knocking them back on the ground, showing them where they need to be and what place they are in. Tallboy's re-engaging, knocking them back and forth, and this mom may be permanently dead. I don't know if Cleaner Crew is going to have any more defibs here.
No, there are no more defibs in play. But like I said before, we're already past the 3-minute mark. At this point, it's not a great round for IDK.YET either way. I mean, hopefully it doesn't go to 4 minutes. That would be pretty bad.
Yeah, Doc does get knocked back down here, but they are setting up in this train car, hopefully just playing for time. And an Exploder point blank, getting right up close and personal with Holly, and that sustain with the melee is not enough to take out that Exploder. Might be able to take a fight with the Tallboy, might be able to take a fight with a Wretch, but an Exploder point blank, I think I know who's going to win that.
Absolutely. And at least this time, IDK did not make the mistake of letting Holly take 3 1v1s in the back of the train car. They sent the Exploder in first. Absolutely the right call. Get her out of there so that your Tallboys can actually work together on that one instead of just giving her a bunch of kills for her highlight reel.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is...
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You want to go?
Sorry. I get excited.
I think it is actually going to be a deficit for Cleaner Crew to not be running any Wretches on this map. We know how dominant from the preseason games and just personal experience it can be to get that AoE coverage, everything kind of being open and in view for that Wretch from the high ground there. Do you think that the power of the Stingers and their composition is going to outweigh not getting that AoE coverage and shutting down those areas with the Wretch?
I actually think on this map in particular, yes, it will. I think that Cleaner Crew has enough experience running this double Stinger comp that they know how to play off of each other. They take these different angles and they force the survivors to keep looking in a million different directions over and over again. But every time they want to kill a Stinger, they have to make like a 90-degree flick, right? Mm-hmm. They see like a little movement on the corner of their screen and they have to immediately go click right on the center of it or it's gone. The opportunity is missed. And I think for this map in particular, with that bridge up top that the Cleaner Crew can play with their double Stinger, I think that they're actually going to be able to play into that just fine.
Mm-hmm. So interestingly, for the side of IDK, how it seems like they actually are taking Jim this round for the side of their flex pick, still locking in that Mom, Carly, and Doc, it looks like. So it seems like they may be incentivizing taking out those long range, but I'm not sure how well that's going to go with the Stingers again.
Well, for anyone who doesn't know, Jim gives the entire team a plus 10% weak spot damage bonus. I believe it's 10%, which is pretty nasty if you have good target focus. It's great for bursting down Tallboys. What can be a little difficult is just solo taking out the Stingers.
Ooh, speak a little bit too soon. Getting instantly burned by a lot of those long-range DPS. A little too early without their Tallboys, and a double kill coming in with the nade. Huge resource value coming in here.
That was a really, really good double nade. Anyone who doesn't know, so what happens is if you are ever given the opportunity to get 2 kills with 1 nade, it's almost always worth it. Just trading 1 for 1, not ideal. Anything more than that, it's worth doing, and I don't think they gave up the barrel for it either. Another fantastic shot on the SD. Maybe they are doing exactly what we said.
I'm very getting a lot of value playing that propane, getting that kill, showing how potent, sitting on those resources, waiting for the propanes to actually get those kills. It's a free grenade if they do properly.
I'm so far impressed by IDK.YET. They have shown an ability to understand what is going wrong and address the issue. If they get another kill early on SD here, this might be catastrophic for Cleaner Crew. That's not the way it goes.
Oh, getting up close and personal with that stinger again, showing just how confident they are being up close. And they do trade, getting that knock still. They weren't able to get the res, weren't able to get that mom res. Coming back in, they get it now. And this is a pretty okay usage of the mom res, 1 minute 28 seconds in.
You know, importantly, I think IDK.YET still has a number of nades in their inventory. I don't think they've used that many. I think it's mostly been the barrels, the propane, and the gas cans.
And Clock coming in, getting a very early knock in. That is almost a knockdown onto the ground here, and it does, coming in with the cleanup from SD Stinger, but I don't know if they're going to be able to contest this. 16 seconds on some of the tall boys here.
I promise you, someone in the comms of IDK How is screaming, shoot the stinger, shoot the stinger. It's their carry. He's the only one that gets any kills. And everyone is listening. SD is getting melted off cooldown.
Both tall boys re-engaging here. We're seeing the stinger focusing the long-range target, trying to take him out as early as they can. Tall boy getting a good knock, double knock actually, and the stinger getting up close and personal, having that aggression, having the ability to. This is the third knock with one. They need to push for 1 minute more.
And a whole minute alone is really pushing it. That might force you to win 2 back-to-back fights, and that's just not doable. That really, really sucks. I feel like if they had a better ridden time, this could absolutely have been winnable. Maybe they got unlucky with nades. Maybe they decided to save some for second round. They have improved. I 100% can see it. They have improved. I am rooting for IDK.YET. It's not too late. They can win the next 2 rounds, and they did exactly what I said they should, which is they stifled SD's farm, right? Because he spent half that game dead, not getting points. I don't know if anyone saw, but somewhere near the end, SD showed us upgrades, and he only had 2 upgrades for Stinger up to level 2. That is nowhere near enough to do the things that he wants to be doing.
I am feeling very good for IDK this map. This is Resurgence. We know how powerful tall boys are and how powerful wretches are, but it is so open. There is about, what, 2 positions a Stinger can play realistically on the top of that garage opposite of the main trucks and maybe off to the side, kind of by where you would end the map. I think if they are going to take a map right now, this is where they're going to do it.
I agree. This is not a very Stinger-friendly map, but the problem is it's not very Exploder-friendly either, because most of the places an Exploder would want to spawn require him to climb up, and that can give people time to either get the killing blow, which if you don't know this, that halves the damage that the Exploder will actually do to people if they die from a bullet rather than exploding on their own, or just for people to get the hell out of there, because Exploders climb rather slowly. So I don't know, really neither team's own strategies feel like they work especially well here, and then that brings us back to the whole idea that the Cleaner Crew has been doing theirs for much longer, so I don't know, that's still looking kind of iffy, but I'm still rooting for IDK How. I think they understand what it is they need to do, they just have to execute. We'll see how they do it.
Alrighty. And it looks like Cleaner Crew's actually setting up to play inside here, denying a lot of the long-range angles, but this may be playing directly into, oh my god, his super early knock coming in from the side of, on their Harley. Cleaner Crew getting the res up, but they're playing inside, they're playing up close and personal. Mom getting knocked, forcing the nade. This may play directly into how strong, it seems IDK's Exploders are if they're able to come in. 3 knocks coming in this early, showing how potent the the inspiring sacrifices can be. And the Exploder seems they're making those swaps, but that barbed wire might slow them and make them an easy target here.
I have to point out that sub 1 minute, Cleaner Crew has used 3 nades and their mom res and a huge percentage of their meds. This is incredibly dangerous for them. Now that they're a little more stabilized, it may be easier for them to hold. It looks like they still have some nades here. We have an interesting dynamic swap from IDK.YET, pulling out the Wretch, get some coverage inside the garage, try to punish this turtling that's going on. A nice shot from Clock.
That's going to be 2 coming in here. But they do use another nade. Not actually getting the kill there, but with the team's focus, it seems like. They are going to be getting pulled out by the edge of the swarm here, though.
Their time of turtling is over. They're going to have to find a new spot to chill. And at this point, if they plays out in the center here, maybe they will give Exploders something nice to play with.
Tallboy's mantling the side here, trying to push him off this high ground position that we know the snipers are going to want so much. They do get the knockoff, but get naded, wiping them right there. And both Tallboys do get knocked out. 2 minutes for using about 5 nades. It is not going to be looking good with the second knock coming in.
Indeed, there seems to be a bit, like I said before, a bit of an execution issue on the Ridden side for IDK.YET. They can't seem to finish these fights. They've got these great openings over and over again, but they keep trading too much for them, right? They get tons of damage on someone, and then they just go in right away instead of making sure they're actually ready to go finish the fight. So they get greedy for the 1 down.
We see both Tallboys re-engaging together, trying to knock them off the high ground, but they seem to split up, not having the exact same target in mind. And they do get focus fired individually.
Great target focus from Team Clock here.
And point blank, kind of just burning this, not having both Tallboys engage at the same time. Stinger on the distance here is going to be being a nuisance, but I think they are being contested by our good old friend. Exploder face first into the Holly, but we know how much sustain they're getting from these common around them.
Fantastic separation. No Tallboys alive to follow up with it, though. This is why I say usually you want the Exploders to go in first or close to first. Gonna get another down here. Yes, we will.
And Tallboy's re-engaging here, keeping them on the edge, and an Exploder, 3-man Exploder, getting damage onto all of them. 2 getting knocked into the swarm, and that's going to be a 3rd knock, taking out Mom, and it is going to be Holly on that sustain. Maybe trying to get the res here, actually.
You know, this is great and all, but we've seen this situation 3 times already. Holly, last one, the Exploder comes in anyways, trying to make it the actual end of the game. He's going to succeed. Fantastic positioning from that last Exploder. I actually did not think that they were going to manage to finish it out right there. I was really worried that the Holly and who was it they were resing? I think that might have been the Carly. I didn't quite see. I was really worried they were going to get to split and run back out into the courtyard and maybe even get up to the 4-minute mark. But no, IDK.YET is not going to let that happen, at least. This is still winnable. It's all going to come down to this last Cleaner side for IDK.YET. Can they pull it back from Cleaner Crew? Arguably one of the juggernauts of the whole bracket is Cleaner Crew, and IDK.YET got them in the very first round, but can they overcome that obstacle? That's the question. They have the tools. We think they have the knowledge. Do they have the skills?
Yeah, this is, you know, sink or swim moment right here. This is going to be defining if they're going to be able to take home that prize, if they're going to be able to fight some of the other teams in the tournament here tonight. And I am hoping IDK is able to push through and make those changes, last minute changes, and kind of set, you know, to be honest, Cleaner Crew kind of came in with a lot of an ego here, right? They're kind of the ones that are expected. They scrim a lot. They practice, right? So if they were able to, you know, get their team, you know, play aggressive, get them to be, you know, stumble, they might be able to, you know, go for the legs, take them out.
Absolutely. Like I said, okay, so their saving grace right here is the fact that because they were so on top of SD in round 1, like I said before, his farm is not online. So what they could do is they could potentially have at least until 2:30 before SD actually feels as though he can safely go in and make things happen on his own. And if they can keep that from happening, even if they continue to kill SD and the other Stinger over and over again before they get any significant amount of farm, they might be able to take the round just off of that. and bring it to a round 3 where they will also be fully upgraded and they can fight over those super short survival times of sub 2 minutes, where it's a little bit more normal in round 3.
Mm-hmm. Teams on the side of the cleaners, we're seeing a pretty standard setting up their arsenal on the top middle of the trucks here. It's going to be very interesting how they adapt to the Stinger plays here.
We're going to see a little bit of a turtle in the garage, just like before. We need some target focus to make sure this damage can't happen for free. Nice little movement there from Walker, but this tall boy needs to die before he gets the down, otherwise it's no better than what happened to them.
Incredibly early knock coming in from the side of the Ridden here. They do get the res actually coming into here, but the Stingers, it seems like they're almost online already. Tall boys are setting up to engage early.
Indeed, for that whole 40 seconds, we did see SD farming the entire time, completely untouched. And at least we didn't get as many resources out of that. We have the propane getting used right away to stop the momentum of this very next push. Some great shots coming out on these Stingers. Walker's still getting kind of low in there. Stinger's going to go in to finish him.
And they do get the res. Inspiring Sacrificing is going to proc here, but it's not enough for the tall boys to re-engage, to keep that knock, keep them on the ground.
We're going to have to see what happens with the ring, what happens with the target focus. If these tall boys can die doing less than 2 hits of damage every fight, we're looking at a good trade for the cleaners here. That's what the tall boys want, is more than 1 hit every single fight. That way they know they're making progress. They're not just banging their head into a wall.
And
SD
the
to
tall
finish the
boy
kill.
getting the flick, getting the knock actually. And the Holly coming in, trying to get the revenge kill with the melee, but it's not enough. Showing how potent, jumping around, keeping that damage up. The flash coming in, using that util, putting SD in their place, and taking them out for this here. Tall boys re-engaging, keeping this fight, keeping the aggression here. Second knock coming in, that is going to be a permanent kill. And they're about to get their third. Are they going to be able to... Canceling the res, very aggressive, trying to go for that res here. And we're going to see Stingers coming back up, 10 seconds, or 0 seconds, and re-engaging, keeping the aggressive on that range. And this should be a cleanup here.
Very unfortunate. I feel like there are only a couple of places that needed to be improved, and you would have seen a completely different story. It's too bad, unfortunately. We will be sending home IDK.YET. I'll change this later. On the opposite side of the spectrum, congratulations to Cleaner Crew. You are going to round 2.
Very, very strong performance that we saw here today. Showing how, changing up that play, changing up your, strategy midway, going from tall boys to an incredibly aggressive Stinger. Very strong performance today.
Hard fought, sweaty from both teams. Joy to watch and cast. We will see you guys in the stream soon for the next game.